What if I told you the most dangerous person in your life is probably smiling at you right now? They're not hiding in the shadows. They're not wearing a villain's mask. They're at your dinner table. They're in your boardroom. They might even be looking back at you in the mirror. 500 years ago, a man named Niccolò Machiavelli wrote a short book that was so honest about human nature, they banned it, burned it, condemned it as the devil's handbook. And yet, every ruler who wanted to stay in power read it in secret. Today, we're holding that mirror up, not to history, but to your life. Because Machiavelli didn't write about kings, he wrote about people, and people haven't changed. The rules nobody admits exist. Here's the question nobody wants to answer honestly. Do you play by the rules, or do you play to win? Machiavelli's central argument, the one that scandalized Europe, was devastatingly simple. The world as it is not the world as it should be, and anyone who confuses the two gets destroyed. We all know this. We've seen it. The good manager who gets passed over because they refuse to play politics, the honest entrepreneur who got eaten alive by someone with fewer scruples and better timing, the loyal friend who got discarded the moment they became inconvenient. This isn't cynicism, this is the terrain. And Machiavelli in the Mirror asks you one uncomfortable question. Are you navigating the terrain, or are you pretending it doesn't exist? Because here's what's terrifying. Most people operate from a mental model of how things should work. Loyalty should be rewarded. Honesty should be respected. Hard work should be enough. And then one day, something happens that shatters that model completely. Someone you trusted betrays you. Someone less qualified takes what you earned. You wake up and realize the game has been going on, and you never even knew you were playing. That moment, that's why this book exists. The Anatomy of Betrayal. Let me tell you what a true Machiavellian looks like in the modern world. Not a cartoon villain, not someone twirling a mustache. They are charming. They remember your name, your kids' names, your birthday. They seem at first like the most genuine person you've ever met. But watch closely. There's a pattern. They are never without an agenda. Every favor has a ledger. Every relationship has a utility. And the moment you stop being useful, they are already gone. Machiavelli described it as the lion and the fox. The lion uses force. The fox uses cunning. The truly dangerous person knows when to bewitch. And the brilliant and terrifying insight from Machiavelli in the Mirror is this. You don't need to become that person, but you absolutely need to be able to recognize them. Because the failure mode isn't being outgunned. The failure mode is being naive. It's giving loyalty where it will never be returned. It's confusing access for alliance. It's mistaking someone's need for you, for their love of you. Stay with me, because this next part is where it gets personal. Think about the last time you felt blindsided. The last time someone you trusted did something you couldn't believe. The last time you said, I never saw it coming. You did see it coming. The signals were there. You just didn't have a framework for reading them. That framework is what Machiavelli gives you. The mirror moment. Now I need to ask you something harder, and I want you to sit with it, because most people won't. What if you're not the victim in this story? What if you're the one holding the mask? Machiavelli in the Mirror doesn't just teach you to spot manipulation, it forces you to confront the ways you have been strategic, the relationships you've let drift when they stop serving you, the version of yourself you perform at work versus who you are at home, the times you smiled and agreed while calculating your next move. This isn't an accusation, it's an observation. Machiavelli's genius was recognizing that power doesn't corrupt people, it reveals them. It strips away the social performance and shows what's underneath. So what's underneath you? What if you're not the victim in your own story? What if most people avoid that question? They avoid the reflection, the quiet confrontation with themselves. But the mirror doesn't lie. It doesn't care about excuses or rationalizations. It simply shows what is. Think about the times you've smiled, nodded, or agreed, while secretly calculating your next move. Think about the relationships you let drift when they stopped serving your purpose, the moments you performed at work while hiding pieces of yourself at home. These are not crimes. These are human, but they are signs. Signs that somewhere beneath the surface, you are playing a part even when you tell yourself you are real. Niccolò Machiavelli understood this. His insight wasn't about manipulation, it was about recognition. Power doesn't corrupt people, it reveals them. Strip away the social performance, remove fear of judgment, and you see the raw truth, not of others, but of yourself. Most of us live with a gap between our values and our actions. We say we value honesty, kindness, fairness, and then slowly we rationalize our exceptions. I had to do it. They deserved it. It wasn't really a lie, just an incomplete truth. This is not a condemnation, this is reality. The human condition is messy, it is contradictory, and it is only in facing that mess, without masks, without stories, that we begin to grow. Awareness is the first step. Awareness is seeing your patterns, your triggers, your blind spots. Awareness is the quiet courage to admit, I am not always who I think I am. Because until you see yourself, others will see you first, and they will use those unexamined pieces of you against you. Your unchecked ambition, your silent resentment, your need for approval, all of it becomes the leverage of someone else's plan. The good news? Awareness is power, real power, the kind that can't be taken. It doesn't depend on control over others, it depends on control over yourself. And it begins with reflection. Ask yourself, what parts of me do I hide? What truths have I avoided because they are uncomfortable? What choices have I justified that I might regret if I looked honestly? Here's the lesson life doesn't always hand to us in classrooms. Courage isn't always in the grand gestures. Sometimes courage is in the mirror, in the quiet, in the acknowledgement of your flaws, your contradictions, your impulses. Courage is choosing to see yourself fully, to own the good and the bad, and to decide how you want to act next. Every day gives you a choice. You can live with the mask on, reacting to life, repeating patterns, living half a life. Or you can remove it, confront the shadows, and live with awareness. One choice leads to comfort and stagnation. The other leads to growth, freedom, and authenticity. The mirror will always be there, cracked, distorted, patient. It doesn't scream, it doesn't judge, it waits. Waiting for the moment you stop avoiding it, the moment you dare to look. Because here's the truth. Life will not stop testing you. It will not wait for your comfort. But if you face yourself, fully, honestly, without excuses, you unlock a power no one else can take from you. The power to act consciously, to love authentically, to lead with clarity, to live without regret. The question is simple yet profound. Will you look, or will you continue wearing the mask? Your life is waiting. The mirror is waiting, and only you can decide what you will see. Most of us live with a gap between our stated values and our actual behavior. We say we value honesty, we value kindness, we value fairness, and then we rationalize every exception. I had to do it. They deserved it. It wasn't really a lie. It was just incomplete truth. This is not a judgment. This is the human condition. And the mirror held up in this book is uncomfortable precisely because it's accurate. The question is not, are you good or evil? The question is, are you aware? Awareness is power, not awareness of others' flaws, awareness of your own patterns, your own triggers, your own blind spots. Because if you don't see them, someone else will use them against you. How to survive what's coming. Let's get practical, because philosophy without application is just entertainment. 4 core principles from Machiavelli in the Mirror, translated for the world you're actually living in. Principle 1. Never be indispensable to one person alone. If your entire career, your entire income, your entire social world runs through one relationship, you are one decision away from catastrophe. Concentrated dependence is concentrated vulnerability. Diversify your alliances, always. Principle 2. Separate what people say from what they do. Words are performance. Actions are data. The person who constantly talks about loyalty is usually the first to disappear. The person who quietly shows up, again and again without announcement, that is the person you can trust. Watch the hands, not the mouth. Principle 3. Control the narrative before someone else does. Reputation is a strategic asset, not vanity, armor. In any conflict, in any setback, the person who frames the story first shapes how it's remembered. This isn't deception, it's authorship. Write your own story, or someone else will. Principle 4. Know when to be the lion, know when to be the fox. Force has its place. Cunning has its place. The most powerful people in any room know the difference in real time. They know when to confront directly and when to maneuver quietly. That situational intelligence separates those who survive from those who thrive. These aren't manipulations, they are competencies. And the failure to develop them doesn't make you morally superior, it makes you vulnerable. These aren't manipulations, they are competencies. And the failure to develop them doesn't make you morally superior, it makes you vulnerable. Because the world does not reward innocence. It rewards awareness. It rewards the person who can read the room before speaking, the one who can sense tension before it explodes, the one who knows when silence is stronger than argument. Strength without awareness becomes recklessness. Cunning without conscience becomes corruption. But combined with clarity, they become leadership. Thriving isn't about overpowering everyone. It's about understanding timing, understanding leverage, understanding human nature. Sometimes the bold move is necessary. Sometimes restraint is the real power. And knowing the difference is a skill, not an accident. If you refuse to learn these dynamics, you don't escape the game. You just play it badly. Life is negotiation. Every conversation is positioning. Every opportunity is strategy. The question is not whether power exists. The question is whether you can navigate it without losing yourself. Because true strength isn't loud. It doesn't always announce itself. It observes, it calculates, it adapts. And when the moment comes, it acts with precision. That is the difference between reacting to life and directing it, between being managed and being the one who manages. Force has its place. Cunning has its place. But wisdom decides which one to use. The real question. We started this video with a question. What if the most dangerous person in your life is smiling at you right now? Here's the deeper question this book leaves you with. What kind of person do you want to be in a world that doesn't always reward goodness? Not a villain, not a pushover, something harder and rarer than either of those things. Someone who sees clearly, who moves intentionally, who extends trust not out of naivety but out of chosen faith, with eyes open to what trust costs and what it's worth. The mirror doesn't flatter you, it doesn't comfort you, but it is the one thing in your life that never lies. The question is whether you're brave enough to look. If this video made you think, not just about the people around you, but about yourself, then it did exactly what it was supposed to do. Machiavellian The Mirror is available now. The link is in the description. If you want to go deeper into power, betrayal, strategic awareness, and what it means to be genuinely formidable in the best possible sense of that word, this book is your starting point. Drop a comment below. What was the moment in your life when you realized the game was being played around you? I want to read every single one. Subscribe if you want more content that doesn't talk down to you. And share this video with someone who needs to hear it, or someone you think might already know all of this a little too well.